The beginning of time on earth is very ancient, and it is described as cycles of life, also known as suns. These cycles of life are or were the sons of Tenajasihuatl and Tenajasihualti, a single being, female and male, at the same time. They were red Tezcatlipoca, black Tezcatlipoca, white Tezcatlipoca, later known as Quetzalcoatl, and blue Tezcatlipoca. The four brothers wanted so badly to become gods, but in order to do that, you have to create something, give birth to something. So blue Tezcatlipoca decided to create a bonfire. And then the four brothers sat around the bonfire and they started giving birth and creating everything on earth. The forests, the animals, the rivers, the oceans, and then they gave shape to two giants, the first prototypes of humans, and they put it on earth. Well, the problem was that the earth was still in darkness. So Quetzalcoatl had the idea of taking the bonfire and turning it into a fragile sun. But you know what? Black Tezcatlipoca didn't like that. Because, he was older than Quetzalcoatl and blue Tezcatlipoca, and he hadn't come with any idea yet. And so he decided that that sun was too fragile and needed to be bold and strong. And so he blew strength on it. And then the sun was bold and strong and big, and everything on earth was burning and drying, the oceans, the springs, the rivers, and the forests were burning up, and the giants couldn't find shade anywhere. Quetzalcoatl demanded to Black Tezcatlipoca to turn the sun into a fragile sun again. But he refused. And so Quetzalcoatl pushed his brother into the depths of the deepest lake. And then he sent heavy rains all over the earth. It brought some refreshment. But then the waters began to pile up. And soon the whole earth was floated. The giants didn't know how to swim. They were drowning. And when Quetzalcoatl saw this, and knowing that he couldn't do much about it, he turned them into fish so they could survive. And that was the end of the first cycle, the first sun. Well, for the second attempt, the brothers, Black Tezcatlipoca had already come back from the lake. They had already recreated everything on earth, with humans included, this time decent size, your size, my size. And Black Tezcatlipoca asked Quetzalcoatl, "So you think you can always save the humans?" Quetzalcoatl didn't answer. He didn't want to get in trouble. But Black Tezcatlipoca didn't like that. And so he pushed his brother on the ground and then began to wrestle back and forth, creating strong and cold winds that on earth were hurricanes and tornadoes. And when the humans were trying to fight back those winds, they began to bend over. When Quetzalcoatl saw this, and knowing that he couldn't straighten them up, he turned them into monkeys and gave them enough fur so they would never be cold again. And that was the end of the second. Good job, you're paying attention. For the third attempt, the brothers decided to truce, peace. We're gonna chill here. If we keep fighting, we're never gonna do anything. So they had already recreated everything on earth, with humans included. And this time the brothers decided that they were just going to watch, observe, see what the humans were doing. And by doing this, that's how they realized that we had grown careless, greedy, selfish. We didn't care about anything. The environment, the animals, we didn't care about each other. And so the four brothers got really, really mad. And they grabbed the stars and began tossing stars against us. And when the stars were falling on us, they were like fireballs. That when they were landing on earth, they were turning into jaguars that were eating, devouring everything around them and burning everything too. Those who were able to run fast were turning to birds. And that was the end of the third son. Yes. Well, after this, the four brothers realized that the punishment had gone a little bit over the edge, too much. I mean, the humans needed a second opportunity. So they decided to entrust Quetzalcoatl with the mission to go to the underworld and ask the Lord of the underworld for the bones back. He went down there, and after he asked, the Lord of the underworld said, "Yes, sure, man, but you have to go through several tests and trials." Quetzalcoatl passed them all. But still, the Lord of the underworld wanted to give him more tests and trials. So Quetzalcoatl decided he wasn't going to wait that much. And so he gathered all the bones and began to run and escape from that place with those bones. And when the Lord of the underworld saw him running, he made them trip down. And when Quetzalcoatl fell, all the bones were scattered around, and they broke into little pieces. Quetzalcoatl gathered them all, and he was able to escape from the underworld. Then the four brothers breathed life on us again. But not the life that they wanted to give us, eternal life. Since the bones had broken into little pieces, that is why one day we have to die. And that was the end of the fourth. Good job. Well, the fifth attempt, they had already recreated everything on earth, with humans included, but the earth was still in darkness. Now, the four brothers decided that this time they were not going to start fighting. Who's going to have the great idea of lighting up the earth, creating a sun or something like that? This time they were going to give the honor to the bravest of all the humans. Well, it happens that there were two brothers. The oldest had been a warrior, and he had won many battles. He was very proud of that. He was very brave. The youngest, well, he hadn't been in too many battles, but everybody knew that he was very kind in his heart. When the four brothers told the other two that mainly what they were asking was for one of them to jump into the bonfire, and that one was going to become the sun that shines up in the skies. That was a great honor, right? Well, the oldest began to hesitate. He was going to miss the action and everything. And when the youngest saw his brother hesitating, he jumped first. Then the oldest, when he saw the youngest jumping in, he went after him. And soon enough, we had two suns shining up in the skies. But the four brothers decided that we didn't need two, right? How many suns do we need? One, right? We already tested it. It has been there since forever, and it has worked really well. And so Black Tezcatlipoca saw a rabbit passing by. And he grabbed the rabbit and boom, tossed it against the second sun. The oldest brother, the one that jumped second, dimming his light and turning him into the moon. Now we had a sun and a moon. But they were motionless. So the four brothers jumped into the bonfire one by one, and they became the energy, the motion of the sun, the moon, the cycle of nature, and the cycle of all our lives. And of course, the four brothers became the Aztec gods. Thank you.